NFL playoff weekend, wild card weekend. Let's get to our next game, which is the Sunday 1 p.m. game between the 9-8 Miami Dolphins and the 13-3 Buffalo Bills on CBS. Buffalo is a 10.5-point favorite. The over-under set at 44.5. Good reason the spread is what it is. No word on Tua Tagovailoa making any progress or seeing the field. He has still not been cleared from concussion protocol. I haven't heard any word on Teddy Bridgewater. Hopefully our resident Dolphins fan, Lope, will have an update on that. But from what I have heard, Skylar Thompson's going to be the quarterback, unless something, again, that Lope has will let us get us some more insight. But it sounds like it's going to be Skylar Thompson in a daunting situation with the South Beach Miami Dolphins going up to Buffalo. Some gambling trends before we get to analysis from everyone. The Dolphins are 3-7-1 against the spread in their last 11 meetings in Buffalo, while the Bills are 3-1-1 against the spread in their last 5 games in January. One last one on the spread. The Dolphins are 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 playoff games. Speaking of the total, under is 5-0 in the Dolphins' last 5 playoff games, while the over is 4-1 in the Bills' last 5 home games, and the over is 7-1 in the last 8 meetings in Buffalo between the Dolphins and the Bills. Adam, we'll start with you. What are your actually? Let's go in the other direction. I'll go. Forgive me, Adam. Let's start with Lope. Let's start with our resident Miami Dolphins fan, Lope. Have you heard any word about whether Teddy Bridgewater will be back for this game? And what should we expect from the Miami Dolphins as they not only battle the cold, but a great Buffalo Bills team that has a lot of emotional juice from the Damar Hamlin saga?
Yeah, so I've been following a little bit of the Miami Herald and the Sun Sentinel, and the thing is, McDaniel is trying to keep it a little bit under wraps, but there is hope that Teddy Bridgewater uh, may be a go. Tua's looking pretty unlikely unless he picks up and is able to practice some during the week. But if not, it's going to be Skylar Thompson. And the Bills have been, especially up in Buffalo, a nightmare matchup for the Dolphins the past few years. They don't have a way to stop Josh Allen. I don't see how they're going to. I would say the over is definitely in play. Um, as far as the spread, it is a little bit sticky without knowing the quarterback situation, but this definitely has the makings to be a chance for the Buffalo to show out. I think they are planning some kind of cameo on the jumbotron for Hamlin, and it should be a very emotional Buffalo team. And talent wise, I think that they're better defensively and somewhat offensively, especially without a quarterback situation being as murky. So I would say I'll stay off the spread until the quarterback picture becomes more clear, but the over I think is a strong play here.
Adam, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think Lope is right. I think we just need to figure out what the quarterback situation is going to be for Miami. You know, the easiest money I made last week was the under in that Jets Miami game. That was the most painful game to watch, but it's makes it a lot easier when you cash a winning ticket there. So for sure, but that Skylar Thompson is just offensively challenged. You know, Teddy Bridgewater in New England didn't look a whole lot better either. These two teams, obviously, much like San Fran, Seattle, a divisional playoff game. They played twice this year. Buffalo lost to Miami 21-19 earlier in the year, but came back home in that cold snow globe game and won 32-29 with Tua did play in that game. Miami did snap a 5-game losing streak against the Jets to get in the playoffs with that Patriots loss, so a little bit of momentum there. But that offense is just challenged without Tua in it. Buffalo, obviously, with everything with Damar Hamlin, been emotional a few weeks for them. They've scored 30 or more in their last 3 games. So to Lope's point, I do like the over in this game a little bit for that reason. I think this could be a game where Allen running and throwing, Miami having trouble moving the football, that Buffalo could cover this number here. I'm not a big fan of it. To see where this thing goes when the quarterback is announced. But for sure, I'd like to lean on the over here. And it's interesting. This line opened at 11 and dropped down to 9.5. So whether that was sharp money grabbing the Dolphins early on, not even, whether it's Bridgewater, Tua, or Skylar Thompson playing. So that's just an interesting point that it did open and it dropped to 9.5 cents then. But I think Buffalo on the money line, and I think we wait to see who plays quarterback. I think I'd feel more comfortable laying the 9.5 or 10 if Skylar Thompson plays, because I do think that Buffalo could get away in the second half and end up winning this game by 17 to 21 points.
We've seen that the Buffalo Bills are more than Josh Allen, and that was My biggest concern going into not just this season, but a few weeks ago as we got ready for the playoffs, was this just all about Josh Allen? And the answer is no. The special teams looks really good. The defense looks better than it did earlier in the year. I think this team, obviously they miss Von Miller and that pass rush, but this is still a team that can create turnovers, can create points off of their defense. I have a lot of faith in the Buffalo Bills rising to the emotional moment, whether DeMar Hamlin's there, shown on screen, or this is simply the Buffalo Bills in the postseason. And historically, the Buffalo Bills, they get to Super Bowls, but they don't win them. But Josh Allen's trying to get them back. And I think that this is one of those games where nothing is going to get in the way of the Buffalo Bills in the second round of the playoffs. So Buffalo on the money line is, I think, the safest game of any one of them across the week. There is no game, I feel, even the Ravens game, if Lamar Jackson doesn't play, to me isn't as safe as the Buffalo Bills. I think there is zero chance the Bills lose. Zero chance the Bills lose. This is one of those, I never say this, I would put the house on it. I would put the farm on it. I would put the family member on it. There is no way the Buffalo Bills lose this game. I cannot see it possibly happening. I don't care who's at quarterback for the Dolphins. As for the spread, I think ultimately the Bills will cover it. Again, it could be a garbage time touchdown or a defensive score. We saw last week that the Jets kind of threw away some extra points at the end. It could be a situation like that where the Dolphins are just desperate. There's a turnover, and all of a sudden it's a pick six or a fumble that's returned for a touchdown. But to me, there's nothing about this game I like if I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. The only hope you have to stay competitive is if you get the ball into the hands of Waddle and Tyreek Hill and let them go crazy. But the Bills already saw that. I feel like the Bills are really going to be prepared for this one because they already saw what the Miami Dolphins can do against them. And that was with Tua in tough weather conditions. I'm not expecting that to be the case with, no Tua this time. So for every reason possible, I like Buffalo. I'll probably end up taking Buffalo to cover. Well, I haven't done it yet. It's certainly a consideration. I am considering probably will put money down on the over. I haven't done it yet, but something tells me this game is going to be like the college football national championship on Monday, which is one team could maybe cover the total all on its own. I think Buffalo is going to score above 30 points, and I could see them getting 40. I think this is going to be a drubbing. So I'm sorry, Elope, but I think Miami is going to be having an off season sooner than anybody will think, because I think within maybe even the first quarter, second quarter, this game could be out of reach. That's how much of a blowout I think. That said, if the Dolphins are going to make a competitive effort out of this, you have to turn Josh Allen over. That is the essential part of this. You have to get to him. You have to turn him over. That's going to be the big question if they're able to stay in this at all. Appreciate